Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. It turns out that Will Smith has taken his own action, and it was a good, intelligent action. I'm going to explain why after I read this good stuff. And mind you, I don't usually get into this stuff. Anybody who's followed this channel, I like talking about comic books, but this shocked me so much when it happened, and the responses that I got. Somebody asked me, why are white people so into this? One, thanks for assuming my identity. Appreciate that. You can identify me as anything you perceive. Whatever, it's cool. Maybe I'll identify you as something also. But for me, it shocked me because of the responses that some people were immediately saying that they thought that it was a good call to violence. I'm going to address that. I'm going to address a lot of things. Let's see how short I can make this video. Will Smith sends out a letter today on April 1st, and he had until April 18th to respond. And I don't care if he did this himself or somebody else did. I think somebody else did it because it's too perfect, right? As an English teacher, currently, this is too perfect. But, excuse me. He says, I have directly responded to the Academy's disciplinary hearing notice, and I will fully accept any and all consequences for my conduct. My actions at the 94th Academy Awards presentation were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. The list of those I have hurt is long and includes Chris, his family, and many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, and global audiences at home. I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I am heartbroken. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention for their achievements and allow the Academy to get back to the incredible work it does to support creativity, and will accept any further consequences the board deems appropriate. That was all one paragraph, and his final sentence, which is a paragraph on its own-ish, he says, change takes time, and I am committed to doing the work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reason. This was beautifully written and beautifully said. Like I said, I don't care if he's the one who actually wrote it, proofreaded it, whatever. He, in some way, shape, or form, dictated it, and he allowed it to go out to be his statement. And yes, this is the hands down most mature, most adult, and best-minded thought. You know, when we act in haste, we should be glad that hasty responses aren't reciprocated. Several people have mentioned, several intelligent people have mentioned, what if Chris Rock was packing heat? And what if he shot Will Smith after the smack? If he reached in his back and pulled out a .22, which he could have easily had between, just like Malcolm X used to carry, a .22 in the back waistband, right in the small of his back, pulled that out and shot Will Smith, right? That would have been a hasty reaction. Violence begets violence, unless you're a bigger man. And Chris Rock, who is not as big as Will Smith, was a much bigger man. Anybody who's criticizing the way that he handled himself afterwards, after getting smacked and not expecting that stuff, I've seen some people say that he suffers from a form of autism where he can't read body languages. So when Will Smith was walking up to him, he was trying to understand, what's he walking up for? Like, is he going to give me a hug or something? That's why he kept his hands behind his back. You know, a show of non-aggression. He wasn't, if the reports that he has some minor form of autism are true, then one, he couldn't have anticipated that Will was going to do what he did. Will certainly wasn't man enough to walk up and say, all right, I'm a whoop your ass now. He didn't walk up and raise his hands, before his face. No. He walked up and kept his hands out until the last possible moment and then slapped him. That's called a sucker punch. It's not a blind side. It was right to his face, but it's a sucker punch because he did not say put up your dukes. He did not indicate let's fight, right? And they were both mic'd up. Well, excuse me, Chris Rock was mic'd up. You would have heard him saying, put your dukes up, right? Or let's go, put your hands up, guard your grill, something. He did not. He absolutely did not. So that is called a sucker punch because there's a bunch of people who've never been in a fight before and they want to talk on what a sucker punch is. Sucker punch doesn't mean you hit somebody from behind. That's called blindsiding or flanking, depending on how the maneuver was done. No, this was a sucker punch. There was no implicit implication. Walking up to someone doesn't mean anything, especially if he suffers from a form of autism like that. Also, that means that Will Smith just made an attack against a mentally disabled person. I'm saying there's no way to win this argument. There's none. I'm not going to use the idea that Will acknowledges this to say that you were wrong, whatever, because people have their own opinions, and your opinions are not invalid just because the action did not equate to what you thought it should, right? Like, it's hard to prove someone in real life and in real time. It's hard to prove somebody wrong, right? And I'm not here to prove anybody wrong. I'm here to say that it is my opinion that Will Smith was absolutely wrong. And I hope that he genuinely believes what he's saying here. He's resigned from the Academy. This is in anticipation of the fact that he probably is going to be removed from the Academy. Now, they're probably not going to take his award. Harvey Weinstein was removed from the Academy after the sexual allegations and all that stuff on him, and jail time, and not just accusations, but like convictions. But he still got to keep the Academy Award, the Oscar. He still got to keep it. Yeah, I'm saying, you know. He's not the only one that was removed, and then here you go also. Look, at the end of the day, there's some things you just don't do. Now, honestly, I hope that the Academies, the Academy, whatever, doesn't take any further action against him. I hope that they say, I hope that they say he has left, and we think that this is good. We think that this is good enough, you know, and no further action will be, you know, committed against, you know, Will, and maybe one day he can apply for you know, reinstatement into the Academy. And I think that he should reapply one day, maybe 5-10 years from now. And I do think that he should be accepted when he does. You know, this was a very man thing to do. Look, everybody can have a bad day. Everybody can have a bad 2 years ever since the entanglement thing. And everybody knows that's what it was. You know, he had a lot of stuff going. But I mean, like, other people have made jokes about him also, specifically about the entanglement thing, you know? It is what it, like, genuinely, it is what it is. It's not about trying to lay blame on this, that, or the other thing. Chris Rock is a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian. Will Smith himself has acknowledged in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when D.L. Hughley was on that episode. Stand-up comedian is different from somebody who's funny, or even a regular comedian who does things, you know, even if it's not a live studio audience, you're still going to do retakes and things like that, you know? So no, being a stand-up comedian is very different. And anybody who's seen stand-up comedy will, you know, in person, they can tell you the exact same thing. It's very different. Chris was slapped in his face and demasculated, right? And his daughters got to see this. That's not cool. Right? Your dad is supposed to be the biggest guy in your life. And I mean, like, if he's a bad guy, if he's a drunk, you know, if he's alcoholic or drug abuser or, you know, beats your mom or something like that. Chris cheated on his wife, like Will Smith hasn't, multiple times, you know. Tambourine was all about that. Chris sang, "My wife's divorced me because I cheated on her. I was stupid." You know? Like, that's some man stuff, when you acknowledge this is what happened. When you get ahead of something, because you know that the reports are going to come out. So he gets ahead of it. He's like, listen, I was dumb. I made a mistake. That's what Will Smith is doing here. I was dumb. I made a mistake. I acted brashly. I want you to think about something. What if Will Smith, after he heard that joke and laughed about it, and then turned and saw Jada's, you know, that thing, which a woman who goes on Instagram or whatever and says, I am proud and I don't care what anybody says about my bald head, about my shaved head, you know? But then you just, whatever. Plus the idea that we saw a video, she clapped and laughed when Will smacked her, or smacked Chris Rock. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. Wow. Imagine having, with all due respect, a trash wife like that. You're going to encourage somebody to do something like that. That's just not cool. That's not cool. And that, yes, that was a trash action, being okay with stuff like that. No, not cool. My wife is a ride or die, but and we're both ride or die, you know, with each other. But I tell you flat out right now, if I did something like that, she would have brought me over and said, "You just messed up. We need to walk off stage right now. Come on, now." We'd have walked off and she'd, you know, yeah. Wow, that was dumb. That was dumb. What Will Smith did was dumb. What Jada did was dumb. But imagine this. Imagine if Will, after he heard that and saw Jada's face, would have turned around and then immediately said, "Chris, keep my wife's name out your mouth." Chris would have probably responded the same way after Will initially said that, which was also after the smack, right? We're imagining that he precedes the smack with saying, keep my wife's name out your mouth first, and saying Chris first. Like, I got your attention. Chris, keep my wife's name out your mouth. Chris would have probably said, dude, it was a G.I. Jane joke. He could have simply said, without even standing up, just simply said, Chris, keep my wife's name out your mouth. What's Chris going to say? What's he going to say? What's he going to do? Nothing. Nothing. What's he going to do? Now he looks like the bad guy. Even if he did say something bad, it's like, you think it's funny to make fun of a woman with alopecia, right? I never even heard of this word until this. Actually, Ayanna Presley has it too, so I may have heard of it. Anyway, all of a sudden, Chris Rock gets canceled. Chris Rock's career is essentially over. People don't want to go to his shows anymore because he's a scumbag who made fun of a woman with a bald condition. Mind you, the whole Uncle Phil thing with Will Smith constantly making jokes about male pattern baldness. He went on Arsenio's show and made fun of the guy with alopecia that was in the band. You know what I'm saying? Who lost his hair or whatnot. Or, you know, like, come on, man. Will Smith, but he was a kid when he did that stuff. He's grown up now, right? Either way, Will Smith has done some stupid things in the past. He sat there, him and Arsenio Hall did the gay jokes stuff, right? And then Will Smith does that fake apology. He was like, yeah, if anybody's got a problem with me saying the gay jokes, I just want to say, I'm sorry. You know, he acts like he's gay there. It's like, Will Smith has made some mistakes too. But again, he was a kid when he did this stuff. But it's one of those things where it's like, but then what was said afterwards? Guys, it was a joke. Making a G.I. Jane 2 comment, which might have actually put it in the director's head. Jada Pinkett Smith would be a strong candidate if we were ever to do G.I. Jane 2. It might have. Who knows? Hollywood people are weird. Who the hell asked for a remake of Ghostbusters? And yet we got it. With that. Anyway, right? Why not? Why not just do a reboot? Not G.I. Jane 2. Just do a reboot of it, right? You never know. And that because D.L. Hughley points out, she lives in Will's shadow and she doesn't like it. That's the reason why she does the red table and all this other stuff. Nobody's coming after Set It Off, residuals. Nobody's getting that. Nobody remembers her name in the freaking Matrix. It was Niobe, I think. It might have been Naomi, but I think it was Niobe. Anyway, it could be both of them could be wrong. I don't remember. She didn't have a very important role, did she? Right? She was with Morpheus. Now she's with Skank, whatever the other guy's name was. The guy who's going after Superman and Man of Steel. That freaking guy. Anyway. Yeah, that. Bro. I think Will would have been better off talking, but he acted on impulse. And, they talk about, some people brought up, Chris Rock has a history of making fun of Jada Pinkett Smith. Saying, when Jada boycotts the Academy Awards or whatever, the Oscars, and says, I'm not showing up because blah, 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 but she wasn't up for anything. So what exactly are you boycotting? What are you boycotting? You're boycotting showing up and celebrating other actors who were better than you and who had a role that year? I don't get it. What are you boycotting? So when he says boycotting, the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited. A self-deprecating joke that includes her in it. That was comedy gold. That's not going after anybody. That's making a commentary. That's all it is, right? And it was funny. Now, freaking that one girl who at the Baftas just earlier this very year goes and says, I thought Will Smith would be more concerned with Jada's cheating. What? He's not here.
Will Smith winning for King Richard. But personally, I thought his best performance in the past year has been being okay with all of his wife's boyfriends. What? Come on, he didn't show up. You can't use COVID as an excuse anymore.
Wow, that was rough. That's a little bit rough. But you know what? Whatever. He didn't say anything about it. It wasn't affecting my wife. Bro, if somebody called my wife the N-word, I would let it go. I wouldn't walk away from it or whatnot. I would be smart. somebody goes, what is it? I was looking for my wife in a line one time. We were walking up to, I forget where we were, but some kind of place where there's a bunch of people in line, right? The checkout registers. There's a whole bunch of people, and I ran back to get something, and she's like, I'm going to go and get in the line. I was like, I'll look for you. I realized I should have probably gotten in the line because she can't miss me. I'm 6'5". You can't miss me in a freaking lineup, you know? But instead, I went back, and I'm looking around for her now. I'm just like, babe, like that, really loud, you know? So, you hear me. Can't miss my voice. Some jackass over to my right and a little bit behind says, babe. I turned around and looked at him, and just really quick, I'm like, monkey see, monkey do, huh? People in line chuckle a little bit. He even laughed a little bit. He's like, I guess. Right? I walked away. I didn't need to whoop his ass. He just called my wife babe. I could have taken that any way I wanted to, right? But I chose to take it as, you like to mimic people? What are you, a parrot? You want to sit on my shoulder? Oh, jackass. Like, literally, it's not that big of a deal. If you got a quick mind, you could do that stuff, right? Somebody went and called my wife the N-word. It would literally be one of those things where it's like, okay, you know what? That was very enlightening. Thank you, because I actually thought that I was dealing with an intelligent person, but it turns out that you are so poor, not just financially bankrupt, but mentally bankrupt, that you have to resort to a racial profiling style, pejorative, in order to try and win or to trigger somebody. Bud, you better be happy that I'm not a violent man. But if you do want to take a walk outside, I am more than willing to handle this with you. If not, now would be the time to shut your bitch mouth up. It's that simple. It's that simple. You don't walk outside with me, you're the bitch. And if you do, bro, I've been in the martial arts since I was 8. I'm 6'5". Military, train people in CQC. Bro, let's go. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? I'm more than happy to. And that's the thing that bothers me. I can go either way. The laws of the land are typically that you don't do something like that. Now, granted, in Canada, apparently just like Scottsville, Arizona, I don't know if it's Scottsdale, Arizona, and apparently a lot of Arizona, maybe all of Arizona, but in Ontario and Nova Scotia and possibly, just dropped a USB port, possibly all over Canada, because I believe the Board of Human Rights is commission is federal. But if not, then it's at the very least it's in Ontario. That if you call someone the N-word or any kind of, so if somebody calls me a guinea wop, they can get in trouble. They can actually get arrested for attempt to incite violence, because racial words or any words that are used as pejorative to insult someone of a clear identity, right? And that's all it says about it. So if I could argue he's insulting tall people, he said, oh, hey, what's the weather like up there? Maybe I can get you arrested because that's the problem with laws. Look, if you think it's okay, cool. But then you go and call me a honky, as I've been called a honky before, right? You call somebody something. It's always fun when somebody calls me a cracker. It's like, I do not fit the description of a cracker in any way, shape, or form, right? Also, calling me a honky, I technically don't class or qualify as being mostly white even, so I don't know where that comes from. Because I look a certain way. Looks can be deceiving, right? I thought you were intelligent when you first started talking to me. You see how easy it is, right? I don't think that words should be regulated. If you say fire in a movie theater, that's one thing. But if you call someone even the N-word, I don't think that, I don't think that somebody should act violently. That's something where you just simply laugh at them and say, man, you're pathetic. You want to go outside and fight? Or are you just going to stand there and talk like a bitch? Nice and simple. Nice and simple, right? It's over. You want to call somebody over? This person's saying such and such and such, right? Like this person is clearly a scumbag, right? If they don't do anything about it, go to the Human Rights Commission, right? Hopefully you were recording it, But I don't even think that people should get in trouble for something. You simply say, you're a scumbag. That's what you are. You're a loser. I don't have to I now realize how low you are. I'm not going to get in the mud and wrestle you. You're a pig. You're used to wrestling like this. I've got no interest in this, right? I don't believe that words should be regulated by the government and people go to jail or anything like that. I really don't. I don't. Because that means that if you call me a guinea or a wop, I can get mad. I can go after you. If you make fun of my ancestral heritage, right? Then I can go after you. Nah, it's not cool. It's not cool. But hey, whatever, man. Whatever. You do something like that, don't forget. It's an excuse for it's a potential excuse for violence. And it's a way for people to, like, the government's going to use that in certain ways. Every time they make a new law, it's a way of them taking away a certain freedom that we have. Censorship of words that we don't like being used is no different to me than censorship of somebody doing something on YouTube or whatever. Now all of a sudden people get taken down. Chris Hedges just got taken down from YouTube, right? Me, I think that he was very interesting, whatever. I liked some of his opinions. I didn't dislike all of his opinions, right? My wife loves listening to the guy because she's studying economics, you know? So she hears his socialistic point of view and it's like, oh, okay, cool. But they took him down. No warning, nothing. Eventually they go and take down somebody who you liked, right? Suddenly your opinion becomes something, a voice of dissent. You know what? Whatever, man. 'Tis what it is, right? It is what it is. Look, the more the government regulates, the worse that it gets for all of us. The Patriot Act, losing our freedoms because we were a little bit afraid of something happening. I think we were good. I don't think that we deserve the TSA for that, right? But it is what it is, man. Look, the thing that bothers me, because somebody asked me, why are white people so bothered? Thank you for assuming my identity. Appreciate that. Maybe I'll assume something about you. When they say something like, why are white people blah, 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 blah. Yeah. What bothered me was the people who advocated for violence, whether it was for protecting your woman or blah, 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 whatever, right? The honor of your woman. The honor of your woman who slept with your son's friend. Like, your son brought in a friend and you slept with him. Over the course of what, 4 years, 5 years, something like that? You want to talk about grooming? Jesus. Now there's songs, Rick Ross co-recording a song with this August kid about entanglements and all the other songs that he did on multiple albums. Bro, come on. The fact that this guy's got to live with something like this. Jada has done more to ruin Will's mind and his reputation than anybody else has. I don't care. D.L. Hughley says it the best. Go and listen to what all the things, multiple times he's talked about this. All the things that he said about Will and Jada. All of that. It's the people who say that, yes, there's a reason for violence, blah, blah, blah. The only reason for violence is defending yourself. That's my opinion. The person who swings first is the loser. That's my opinion, because words are just words. I come from an era, sticks and stones may break my bones, right? But names can never hurt me, whatever. That's the era that I come from. I want you to think about some things. When they say like, well, words are violence. No, they're not. No, they're not. Words can be insightful, but words aren't violence. Silence is violence. Are you stupid? No. Do you actually have brain damage? Is there cerebral hemorrhaging going on? Are you losing blood up here? Silence is violence? It's not my job to interfere and get myself in trouble. If I see 3 people harassing a woman at a gas station at midnight, it's not my business why she's there. Maybe she genuinely ran out of gas and it was an emergency, do this, that, the other thing, and there's no place else to go, and she had to stop off and get gas. In the back of my mind is, genuinely, you shouldn't have been here. It was really dumb for you to come alone to a gas station, and you're not even, like me. I don't like going to a gas station. I'm huge. And a woman's going to come here alone? That high heels, something like what are you thinking about? What, I'm going to be a gentleman and a hero and champion to walk over there, and then I got to deal with 3 guys who good chance, like if they're willing to do that and in public with cameras all over the place, I got to worry about them maybe beating on me, stomping on my head. I don't get to go home to my family. Sorry, I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm getting in my car. I'm driving home. I'm keeping my head straight. No swivel. I'm peripheral vision. Make sure nobody's running up behind me or something like that. I'm going home. It's not my business. Silence is violence. No. What they're doing is violence. I'm minding my own business and I'm going home. Cops always say your most important job is getting home alive. Personally, I would like to disagree with that for cops, but it's absolutely a private citizen's job. It's not my business that she decided, for whatever reason, to come out to a gas station alone. Same thing with the gas station attendant, if there even is one. It's not my business. When you say this is violence, that's violence, it takes away from actual violence. The people who thought that slapping Chris Rock in the face was justifiable, especially in the public place that they were in, which took away from everybody and made everybody feel less safe and less comfortable, and potentially ruined Venus and Serena Williams' and their mom's moment, that you're only being awarded because you took up the role of my father in a movie. All these people whose days he ruined. The embarrassment to Chris Rock and his kids. Because Chris Rock made a bald joke. He didn't make a cancer joke. Men go bald all the time. Oh, it's different with women. With all due respect, I politely disagree. You can disagree all you want. We're at an impasse, right? It's just looks. It's just looks. At the end of the day, the idea of equating physical violence with words or non-words even is asinine to me. Because there are lots of kinds of physical violence. What about rape? Do you want to equate rape with mentioning someone's bald or shaved head? Think about it. Like, this is crazy to me. At the end of the day, we're living in a world where we're changing words, right? The world that I come from was the 80s and early 90s also, where anything before the early 90s, you didn't get in trouble for fighting somebody. You could get pulled out of a shopping mall or a strip mall or something like that if you got into a physical altercation there because you're endangering other people. But for the most part, it's two people fighting. Hey, both you, cool it off. You hit the cop, you'll go to jail. Aside from that, both you, cool it. You want to spend a night in the tank? Huh? Is that what's going on? One of you drunk? Huh? No? Go home. Stop doing it. Don't make me come out here again. That's it. That's all you got. So we just get in fights all the time. But we currently live in a world where you'll be sued. Right? You should look up the laws of where you live and what happens if you get into a physical altercation. I'm dead serious. You know? Go talk to a lawyer. They'll oftentimes do like a half-hour free consultation. Just learn. Learn a little something. I'm dead serious about that. Because you want to protect yourself if you go and do something stupid like what Will just went and did. And I'm glad that he admitted that he was wrong, because he was. But the people who argued stuff like this, that violence, physical violence, actual violence is an acceptable response to somebody making a joke or a comment or anything like that, even a joke in really poor taste if that's what you consider it to be. Cool. So what about if you say something to me? What if you say something to me? Should Will Smith be able to go up and smack a woman like that? Does that make sense? I don't know how big you are who's listening and watching this. I'm a pretty big guy. Martial arts since I was 8. Military, all this good stuff. I can handle myself. And there's a whole bunch of people who've never been in a fight who will think, yeah. No. All you need to do is be in one fight with somebody who knows and enjoys fighting. Look, I like living in a civilized world where I'm encouraged to use my brain for something other than getting a concussion. Yeah? But if we did have to go back to, instead of moving forward to a positive future where violence is no longer condoned in any form, including name calling and stuff like that, we can move forward to there. That's a good thing. But if we start regressing, where violence is an acceptable response for this, that, and the other thing, How many people out there does that actually benefit? Because I promise you, big as I am, I could go that way. Most people out there can't. So you should stop for a second and think. Everybody likes to think they're a Billy Badass. My name actually is Billy. It sounds like a big pat on the back thing, right? But I'm trying to be as reasonable as possible. Let's say you think that I'm a big joke. Cool. Is Mike Tyson a joke? You got something to say to Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson doesn't like the way you look. We're back in the caveman days. Mike Tyson's the alpha male. All these people, they're going to Brock Lesnar, right? Brock Lesnar's going to walk around and he's going to steal your woman. Because we're going back to caveman days, right? He likes your woman. He decides to conquer over the head with a stick. Maybe that stick is between his legs, but he's taking her back to, right? He's taking her back to his cave. What are you going to do about it? You can't sue. No, we're in the caveman days. Think about it. Laws or lack of laws, especially lack of laws, benefit the strong much more than they benefit the physically weak. And that's the way it's always been. That's the way it will always be. Mike Tyson said everybody's Billy Badass until they get punched in the face. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Nobody ever gets into it. Nobody ever, yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? In their mind, they're thinking, yeah, in a second, I'm going to hit him, and I'm going to hit him, and I'm going to hit him like this, I'm going to hit him like that, I'm going to hit him like that. Nobody ever thinks, when he hits me, and it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and I lose my balance, and he jumps forward and hits me with a chair, or whatever he's going to do, and my family is watching me get my ass kicked, and people are there putting their stuff up on YouTube and Instagram and whatever. Then what? Nobody ever thinks about the other. Everybody's got in their mind, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you ain't going to do none of that. You might get off that first one. After that, it's any man's game. I've seen it way too many times. We should be very careful with the things that we say. The things and the thoughts that we think, and how we hope to execute those things. If enough people say slapping somebody for insulting somebody's wife is okay, that's cool, man. Now maybe somebody calls my wife the N-word. Maybe it's not even a white racist. Maybe somebody's just trying to get under my skin. Now suddenly I'm allowed to beat the living snot out of that person. Is that really the world that we want to live in? It's not the world that I really want to live in. Most people can't live in that world. Think before you speak. It behooves us all. All right, guys. If you stuck with me the whole time and you hate my face, thank you for being reasonable enough to stick through the whole thing. If you think otherwise and you're like, that makes a little bit of sense, I appreciate that also. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your night. Yeah. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Like the video, watch an ad. Class dismissed.